fewer jobs. I've got to ask a very quick question about the reflecting pool. What's the very latest on that in your job as Secretary of the Interior?
Well, the repairs are underway. And of course, after our amazing salute to America.
In a striking new 75-page argument, the defense attorneys for David Hearn point out all the issues that have surfaced long after Hearn's arrest. Specifically, the Trump administration's very controversial decision to drain the pool again.
Another day, more reflecting pool drama as it appears the people Trump put in office to prosecute the person charged with vandalizing the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool have, I don't know, messed it up. And if you didn't know, the president continues to rage at the alleged vandals after his $16 million pool renovations turned into a very expensive embarrassment. He posted how the, quote, scum in court will be prosecuted over the massive slash. And it appears he's referring to former Olympian David Hearn, the only person to be charged so far. And his team says that the Trump administration's own blunders have rendered the case against him dead in the algae green water, it appears.
Hearn's attorneys have filed a motion to dismiss the case entirely, claiming that the government has altered a key piece of evidence, the reflecting pool itself. They have said that because the government has drained it and is doing work on it, they are unable to access the site. The judge denied that motion, but he did tell prosecutors that they needed to give Hearn's attorneys and their experts full access to the site to do testing.
In a motion to dismiss the federal indictment against Hearn, his attorneys argued that the U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia, Jeanine Pirro, of Fox News, of course, let the key evidence in the case, the lining of the pool Hearn is accused of damaging, slip away. That's right, the single most important piece of physical evidence, the section of the pool liner that he allegedly damaged, was not preserved for independent examination.
By Hearn's own admission, on June 19th, he reached down into the pool. Our evidence further shows that the National Park Service employees observed Hearn actually forcefully and violently pulling up and removing the bottom liner with both hands.
In a striking new 75-page argument, the defense attorneys for David Hearn, 67-year-old man who was in the Olympics 3 times, really point out what could be characterized as comical errors by the Trump administration, which could lead to the demise of a case that's been a laughingstock, though obviously very serious to Mr. Hearn. The felony criminal case against David Hearn is now scheduled to go to trial September 28th at the local court here in Washington, D.C., the D.C. Superior Court. But in this 75-page court filing, the defense attorneys, Mary Dorman and Norm Eisen, point out all the issues that have surfaced long after Hearn's arrest. Specifically, the Trump administration's very controversial decision to drain the pool again, to do new work on it. What the defense is arguing is a clear spoilage of any evidence in their case. And they're citing the decision on July 8th for the Trump administration to move forward with this work to drain the pool as reason to dismiss the case against Hearn. Again, Hearn's case has been the source of jokes that they would make this a criminal case for touching the pool, maybe touching a liner. But what they're arguing here in this new filing is that the real joke is on the prosecutors for allowing the Interior Department to mess up the evidence.
Right, defense requests that the evidence be protected. The government repeatedly drained and altered the pool, going to extreme lengths to try and hide it from public view. But, well, that appears to be going as well as everything else in this administration, especially the Iran war. Hearn's lawyers are now asking for the charge to be dismissed, arguing that the administration destroyed or failed to preserve material that could have supported his defense. And this is what happens when the administration functions solely to appease the president's fragile ego. Jeanine Pirro and others, they needed a villain, someone that Trump could blame for the embarrassing condition of the renovation that he had personally promoted and spent millions on. And once it found the person, the ordinary requirements of evidence preservation apparently became secondary to the political requirements of announcing that someone had been caught and was guilty already. Because the reflecting pool renovation had already become an embarrassment before this point, right? Project which was just hand-delivered to a Trump affiliate only cost roughly $16 million after initially being estimated at approximately $1.5 million. The new blue coating that was installed began peeling. Algae turned portions of the pool green, and a project intended to display patriotic grandeur ahead of America's 250th anniversary instead began resembling the bottom of a neglected pool that you'd find in a hotel.
Well, there's one person in particular who's going to look really stupid now that the reflecting pool has been drained down at the National Mall. There are no signs of any slashes or a 350-foot gash down the middle of the reflecting pool, as Donald Trump has been lying about. There are signs of a shoddy paint job that was done down here. You can see some of the splotchy paint marks up and down the bottom of this reflecting pool, but nothing like he has been talking about over the last several weeks. If anything, you see what looks like a very long drainage trench that runs down the middle of the reflecting pool. But again, no major signs of any kind of vandalism approaching anything that Donald Trump has been talking about. He owes a lot of people an apology, especially those who have been arrested in all of this. The person who is responsible for the bad work down here is Donald Trump.
The administration blamed vandals and also claimed that people dumped fertilizer into the water, as well as cutting the coating with a box cutter. Officials announced multiple arrests, and the White House released dramatic footage so that the message was clear. The renovation did not fail. Bad people attacked it.
Okay, guys, so I'm back at the reflecting pool because guess what? It's getting drained again. It's all in an effort to clean and repair damage to the lining that was installed.
And that's not merely a story about the pool, right? It's just a condensed version of this administration's entire blame game strategy, right? When something works, Trump did it personally. When something fails, somebody sabotaged him. The economy is strong because of Trump. But if prices go up, that was Joe Biden's fault. The election system works when Trump wins, but it fails whenever he loses and needs to be undone.
To the degree that this speech tonight is about elections past, not elections upcoming, the 2020 election has had dozens of recounts, lawsuits, audits. 2024 election widely believed to be safe and secure. There's not really any question about that. A lot of people look at this.
Because it was too big to rig?
Well, I think a lot of people look at this.
There's a massive amount of votes for this president. That's why he's in the Oval Office right now.
No one disputes that. And there were a significant amount of votes for Joe Biden, who won in 2020. I mean, I think the question is, why is the president unable to let this go?
Well, first of all, Garrett, I think part of the problem is that the media has refused to acknowledge that tens of millions of Americans across the country share the concerns of this president about the sanctity of our elections. And your premise of your question, you're jumping ahead to a conclusion in this speech before even hearing it yourself. I think that everyone should tune in tonight, including the people in this room, and you should report on the president's speech and the findings that he is going to reveal in this speech with a little bit of honesty and a little bit of integrity, because it will shock you if you have an honest eye listening to the president tonight, and everything he is saying will be backed by facts and by evidence that will be provided this evening. And again, Garrett, I think all Americans, Democrat, Republican, should agree that we are the greatest country in the history of the world. We should have the safest and most secure elections in the history of the world. And what the president will be speaking about tonight will show you that perhaps that is not the case, and we need to make some adjustments moving forward.
It is always Trump made the decision, someone else produced the consequences. And the reflected pool case is what happens when that formula encounters a courtroom.
Today, David Hearn pled not guilty. Because he is not guilty. If Mr. Hearn can be charged with a felony for touching the reflecting pool, every American is at risk. And every American should be alarmed about this prosecution. This indictment reflects the administration's effort to scapegoat Davey and to shift blame for their own failures. We will litigate these issues vigorously. We have confidence in our justice system to see through this misuse of government power against an ordinary American based on a false and politicized narrative.
The same pattern is visible in other aspects of the administration, like the economy. Trump promised lower prices, but inflation remains elevated, with senior Federal Reserve officials placing it at roughly 4%, well above the central bank's 2% target. Consumer sentiment is nearly 12% lower than it was a year earlier, and the survey that was conducted largely predated the latest renewed escalation with Iran. Gasoline has now returned to a national average above $4 per gallon. That is more than 30% higher than when the Iran hostilities escalated in February. But of course, none of this can be Trump's doing. So instead, Trump blames everyone else. Just as with the reflecting poll, the administration made a consequential choice. The outcome became ugly, so it went hunting for someone to blame. And if the public grows skeptical and dares ask any questions, then Trump resorts to his trademark, blaming the media, the outlet, and the question itself.
Mr. President, there are no signs that Iran is ready to stop fighting. So what is the plan? Is the plan to just keep bombing until
how would you know
up?
if there are no signs? What, you know something that I don't know?
Well, they continue to attack our allies.
Yeah, but you don't know
Americans.
what the dialogue is behind the scenes, that they want to meet desperately to try and end it because they're getting decimated. You don't get that when you listen to your fake station, but you don't know. You don't know anything.
So talks are
you know
still
something
possible,
that I don't
likely?
know? You know something I don't know?
Well, tell us.
I will tell you, they want to desperately meet, and until they're ready to meet in a meaningful way, we have no interest in even.
Can't get away from the fact that the government wanted to turn a disputed 2-square-foot tear into proof that malicious outsiders destroyed.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.